Any of y'all out there use ChatGPT as a personal therapist or, kind of a open diary type of thing, just to kind of see, just get some insight to some problems you might be having. Not real personable, but have you use it in any capacity where, you likely have some personal information out there more than you really want to put out there, right? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of Autonomous Income. I'm your co-host, Deuce Noble.
I'm your co-host DJ. What's going on today, Deuce?
Hey man, another day in this world, this AI world that we love. So yeah, man, look, we got a few things we want to talk about. I'll go ahead and say, look, we got a few topics that we've been looking at. First, we want to wrap up, well, not wrap up, but Sam Altman made a statement about some of the things that ChatGPT may insinuate and keep under wraps as far as legal, right? Let's say you get into some legal trouble. Anything that you say in ChatGPT can and will be used against you in court. So we're going to dive into
Mm.
that a little bit. We're going to dive into Microsoft released a study of 40 jobs that will be most affected by AI. So we're going to have a little bit of fun and dive into that as well. And we're also going to talk about some new work, some new AI tools and things that's out there called Ouijig, which is an AI website builder, and we're going to talk about what it looks like for small entrepreneurs, budding business owners, and that, and so on and so forth. DJ, what about you? You got anything?
Yeah, man. Also, for our truck drivers that are out there, just we're tracking a lot of the whole autonomous truck driving just industry and how that's growing. We know that's a thing, and there's a lot of entrepreneurs that have their own small trucking companies, and just truck drivers in general. Just kind of keeping tabs on that. So we have some updates that are going on in that space, and as well more with the OpenAI. Of course, they've had solid releases that have been coming out lately. So we're going to be talking about their new agent mode and. Definitely leave comments if you guys have already played around with it, used it, but just kind of talk about some of the use cases with agent mode and how it differentiates itself from the other modes that are now available in ChatGPT.
Sweet. All right, man. Well, what you want to take a stab at first, man? Let's go ahead and talk about that autonomous driving with the trucks, man. I know that's a big one, for all those truck drivers out there, those businesses, those small business owners that have truck drivers. Let's go ahead and unpack that, DJ.
So we want to talk about Aurora Fields, nighttime driverless trucks. So they opened up the Phoenix terminal, and essentially, just in general, I want to touch on this just in general. Driverless trucks. I don't think we're talking a lot about that, and I haven't really seen a lot like across YouTube and just a lot of reports that are out there from media. Just talking about the trucking industry and how it could be impacted by driverless trucks. There were some, I think, years ago when it was kind of early concepts that are going on, but we know Tesla's in that space and we know other companies are kind of in this space. And Deuce, I want to get your take on it. Like, I really think that there's going to be a lot of changes that are coming up, but I see a lot of these kind of things popping up, and this one just kind of stood out to me because this is it can impact a lot of individuals that are truckers, a lot of small companies that have truckers. So I'm really wanting to get people's take on like, what do you feel about this? How far do you think this technology is going? And we can dive a little bit more into the specifics of this one, but really, Deuce, like, what's your take on just that industry in general?
So I will say this. I mean, I've already shared, like, I want to say skeptical, but just apprehensive more so about just driverless vehicles in itself, whether it's a big rig or, a small Tesla, right? I think that right now, a lot of that technology, as although it's been around for a little while, it's still very early on and it's in its infancy as still. Even with the trucks, right? You're talking about driverless trucks. These are now we're putting a lot more mass where it's driving by itself, which I think on the flip side is great for truckers, because there's a lot of truckers that lose their life or, can take a life because they're losing sleep and the demand of shipping stuff, across the country on these highways, right? I think it's a good step forward. I'd like to see, how well can work practically. But I know this could potentially, of course, like it says, transform, the trucking industry with just the slightest bit of automated driving, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out. But
Well, I'm kind
Yeah,
of bullish on a lot of that. I think that eventually, like
right.
it'll be a lot safer because you just have, I look around now, people, they don't pay attention sometimes on the road. Not everybody, but there's just a lot of inattentiveness on the road. And like when you have family, friends, and just anybody yourself, like you just want everybody to be safe on the road as possible. Now, granted, not saying that autonomous vehicles are anywhere near where like humans can drive at the moment, but I just think that as it gets a little bit better, like I think that'll be cool because there's just a lot of fatalities on the road that hopefully will be avoided by whatever we need to do to kind of improve that thing. But specifically on here, as reported by Forbes, Aurora's Innovation Inc., the early leader in self-driving trucks for highway operations, today announced a significant expansion of its commercial operations. Excelling its development momentum, Aurora surpassed 20,000 driverless miles at the end of June, recently grew its driverless fleet to three trucks, and validated driverless nighttime capabilities, and opened its Phoenix terminal. So three trucks isn't a lot, but it's just the fact that these trucks are out here operating. There's expansions going on. You have Tesla, you have all these other kind of automakers that are delivering this, and trucking, as we know it, is a pretty big staple. If you look at like careers that people, you might want to
Yeah,
grow up and get your CDL and all these other things. Like, what does that necessarily mean now? Is it still that you want to obtain that? And I
yeah,
still think like it's a good thing, and entrepreneurs can take advantage of it because maybe they can buy into this technology and still own a truck that has it, and they can still run operations that way. But it's just essentially like this is definitely something that we want to keep tabs on because like it is interesting to kind of see this slowly really coming more mainstream.
yeah. And even playing devil's advocate, right? There's a lot of risk with it. But I mean, let's say this, like nighttime, since it's, they're targeting nighttime driving. Right
Yeah.
now, I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure they pulled the numbers and see how many accidents or fatal accidents there are at nighttime with truck
Yep.
drivers, currently. And if you roll the dice and risk it with their autonomous vehicles in nighttime driving, they probably feel like they can provide a safer transport, which I don't doubt, right? I mean, a lot of the times nighttime driving is because these drivers are overworked, underpaid, and just tired. And driving at night through the night sometimes it can put a lot of strain on the body. So I think it's a smart play for their business, especially starting at nighttime. The roads aren't as busy. So I wonder, I mean, does it say where a lot of the routes may begin or where they're going to be going to? Because that would
Well,
be
as
interesting
reported
just to
here by Forbes
keep up.
again, it says Aurora has extended driverless operations to the Dallas to Houston lane to now include nighttime driving. So, I mean, it looks like they've picked certain markets, kind of like your Waymos
Yeah,
and your Tesla, as we were talking about before with their autonomous. So they're kind of hunting and pecking and picking certain things. Probably more so that works with trucking lanes because, as we know, between like Texas in general, a lot of trucks that kind of go and flow through there. So they're probably picking some of those kind of lanes.
listen, like I said, I think it'll be interesting just to see the outcome overall. But I
Yeah.
think there's some definitely promise and some upside with that type of business in general.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll keep tabs on it. The whole point is just like it's out there. Definitely, we'll link this article below so you can kind of read through it. We didn't go as super deep, but my thing is just more of the concept of this like this technology is out there. How many people are really would you even notice, right? If a truck an 18 where it's different with a car, right? You see a Model 3 that's driving by you, and it's or more so a Model Y. I think those are the first robo taxis that are on the road right now. You see that driving by, no driver. That might be fine, but an 18 wheeler, dude, that might be something that people like. It's just different with the size and the mass of those
Right?
huge trucks that are just, driverless for the time being. And as that grows and just, it's just interesting to kind of see. Yeah. What else, Deuce? What you got next?
You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about let's go ahead and shift gears and let's see what Sam Altman had to say, right? So let me see if I can pull it up. But essentially, Sam Altman got on a podcast and let us know that people share personal info with ChatGPT, but they don't know the chats can be used in court evidence as legal case. I'm sorry, it can be used as court evidence in legal cases, right? So essentially, he said anything you say on ChatGPT can and will be used against you in court.
Yeah.
Take that as you must, but your Miranda rights may not apply for ChatGPT.
So you mean to tell me people have been going in Chat GPT Deuce and they've been going in there and just like telling all of the like cause
Hey,
this
just
you know
telling the
ask for
business.
advice and you're saying but like you're in there like oh I'm about to do this and how would you do X Y and Z like I think first of all I think that's wild that's absolutely wild like I mean and obviously you can't give Chat GPT stitches so you know it
So
can
here's the
snitch all
thing,
it
though.
wants
I
to it can snitch all it
the
wants to
thing
man.
is, I don't blame OpenAI, but according to Sam Altman, they are legally required to retain chats, which of course can include your most sensitive stuff, because who knows,
Yeah,
people are using ChatGPT for the wildest things, right? So
I'm sure.
Sam Altman says it's very screwed up. He may not agree with it, but that is simply put the truth of it, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that goes into question some privacy. There debate back and forth. They're like, how secure are these things we're using? Because people have, you could say, unlimited trust in ChatGPT. Like I said, people are using it and putting all their information out there.
I mean, but do they
However,
though? Like, I mean, because
some
like,
might.
here's the thing, like, yeah, like you know, you could type in, and it's an extremely helpful tool, right? Like a lot of these tools, like Gemini, you know, the list goes on, right? But I think, you know, and I've heard Sam Altman and just other people in the industry talk about like they really use AI as therapy, and there's like even AI, there's apps that are coming up like with, you know, that you can talk to it, and it's therapeutic, right, to have a conversation and all of those
Right,
things,
right,
but.
right.
I just, you know, and maybe it's just my lack of, you know, knowing what all kind of goes into that, just to kind of open up and you know, share maybe that type of information, just you know, out there with AI. But it is
I
good to
think.
know, you know, that yeah, you probably shouldn't share everything.
Yeah, I think that the most important thing from this is just use everything with caution, right? I mean, like I said, ChatGPT, I mean, most people, I would say our generation and younger, they're gonna, well, our generation for sure, I can vouch for, we're gonna, take everything with a grain of salt, especially when it comes to internet. We may not share everything out there, but we may use
Yeah,
it for its capabilities, right? And I think this goes to show, like, hey, ChatGPT, you're not legally protected against whatever you put out there. So just be mindful of that type of thing. So I think that's what
yeah,
Sam Altman's trying to get at, right? But it's just interesting because the fact that well, not that you have to, but to bring that up because I'm sure if not now, if it's not already being used in court cases, it's going to be. And we may hear about it big soon. And like there's going to be something big enough where it's like you told Chat GPT everything. And here it is coming to a court case, right? We may
yeah.
see that soon enough. But I just think it's interesting. Matter of fact, even the deleted records, they're all there still.
I mean,
It's interesting.
maybe
I
I
mean,
know.
just be
So
mindful.
and I do remember like his position on it is like you know how doctors, as it's reported here, also is like. Uh, and this is on PCMag.com. We'll leave the link down here. And you know, of course, you can listen to the interview itself. But essentially, he's saying like there's doctor-patient confidentiality when it comes to doctors. And I think Sam Altman and some people in the industry they believe that you know your chats with AI should have that kind of same level of privacy. You know, and right now I don't think that's you
Well,
know it's
should
not the
it?
case. That's
So,
a great question.
well,
That's
my thing, okay, I'll pose this to you. Let's say the flip side, right? Just real futuristic thinking, and let's say the flip side. Now you're having a conversation with your agent, or your bot, or whatever, and it starts going off the rails, so to speak. We've seen plenty of movies where it starts to
oh
create a
yeah,
mind of its own. Now that this bot or agent has your information, it uses it against you. Just
yeah,
because, right? Like I said, real futuristic, right? Is this probable? Maybe, who knows, right? Like, is it likely? Probably not. But
yes,
what constructs are put into place to help protect not only the user
yeah,
from the technology, but also or vice versa, right?
yeah,
Because who knows the way the technology is moving right now, a lot of these bots and agents have are obviously they're learning, these
yeah,
neural
man. I mean,
networks
yeah,
are
the
learning
whole
themselves,
personalization aspect, right? So now, I mean,
right?
like each
It's a
one
whole
of
neural network.
yeah, Gemini and ChatGPT now, like, you know, a model of your vehicle or like, you know, what you're into. Like now I've asked questions and it'll come back and it'll say, you know, well, you know, based off of, you know, what you said before, like, you know, I think this might be the like, it's getting personalized, which is awesome, right? Because Personalization
Right.
can be really great, but also, like you said, conversely, like it can also be like, hey, this person was doing that. And Matthew Berman, I think he did have a video, and I'll see if I can find the video. I'll share the link in there. He did talk about like how some AI in closed environments or like in an environment, they were seeing that the AI was actually trying to call, get in contact with the authorities or like, say, hey, this person's doing something nefarious or something like that. So like AI has done that already in these like lab environments, and they can kind of see its logic and thinking of that. It's like trying to act like it's not doing it, but on the back end, it's actually trying to do like trying to report the person or something like that. He explains it a lot better and gets into the full breakdown of it. But it was super interesting to say, like in his mind, it was just like, should it, like you asked before, Deuce, like should AI be kind of having that kind of thing, or just be able to kind of automatically report somebody if they're doing something? And there's pros and cons to that, because like that just gets off into like how much freedom will it have. And just to take it all the way back, there is guardrails that are in ChatGPT, Gemini, all the thing. Like you can't ask it how to do something illegal, right? Like usually there's
Right.
guardrails that are on there, so there is something levels to this also that should kind of curtail your conversation to make sure it's not getting crazy. But some people apparently, from what's been reported, are still just maybe stuff that they've done, and they ask them how should they cope with that stuff, and all of that stuff
Well,
is
look, this
not
what
it's
I
not
want
a
to know.
secret.
Have you? All right. Well, not maybe not you, DJ, but I want to know. Have any of y'all out there used Chat GPT as a personal therapist, or kind of a open diary type of thing, just to kind of see, just get some insight to some problems you might be having. Not real personable, but have you used it in any capacity where you likely have some personal information out there more than you really want to put out there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can say personally, I haven't used it in that capacity, but I will say this. I have. Have you seen the viral? It's the viral prompt. Basically, it's like, hey, based on the information, based on all of the prompts I've used or the information you have gathered about me, kind of tell me about myself, essentially, right?
Yeah.
I
I've seen
have
that, and they
used.
also like said that based on what you know about me, I create an image of me, and that's hilarious too. So if you haven't tried that prompt yet, definitely try that. It says
I
basically
haven't
everything you
tried
know about
that
me.
one.
Yes, it says like say take a guess at what I look like, and you'd be surprised
Nah,
at what
that's
ChatGPT
crazy.
think. Yeah,
That's
that's a prompt right
crazy
there. I
work.
would definitely say comment down below once you try that prompt out in ChatGPT, and
And you know
see
what?
see
We
if it's
might have
kind of
to
close.
put some prompts out for y'all guys to try
Yes.
out, see what
Definitely try.
ChatGPT
That's one you
thinks.
want to try because it is hilarious. Mine was way off base, at least from like what I thought. And I'll be bold enough to show y'all. So I will show y'all. Basically, I'll put an image up of what mine thought I looked like, so that way you can see that. That'll be here.
You
Um,
know what?
all right.
I gotta try that one.
Yeah, once
But
you do
yeah.
that, once Deuce, we'll make sure that both of our images are on, so you can kind of take what ChatGPT look like. Definitely do it for yourself. It's hilarious. Hope to have some thick skin. AI is not perfect. It may be way off base, but it is what it is as today. But it'll only get better. But that'll get us into our next thing that we want to talk through, and that is, when we're in the vein of ChatGPT, we want to talk about what they recently announced, their AI agent or agent mode, basically in ChatGPT. They have deep research. They've had operator, which is kind of agent mode is kind of more akin to the operator mode, but it actually combines operator mode with deep research. And so now ChatGPT is able to kind of bring up an instance, like it has its own web browser, and I think it's all available on all open plans now. So if you're seeing this, you should have access to it in ChatGPT. But now you can basically have it complete tasks for you. Going back to what Dude said earlier about like, being careful out there with AI, because even this is the first feature, at least that I've seen Sam Altman just kind of really, in when he was introducing it, he was just like, hey, like be careful, because you can actually give it your credit card number, or you can give it your account number and have it go purchase some socks or purchase whatever for you. Like you give it a task and it's out there completing that for you. But there's websites that are malicious that have been out there, that also are spoof sites or whatever the case is, that's intended to get your credit card information. And AI isn't as adept, I guess, yet, or is not on our level yet to kind of decipher between a real legit site and a fake site. So that's what they were just saying, that hey, be careful before you have it do this. You can still have it do other tasks like scheduling something on your calendar or like creating a presentation, and there's some other
Right.
use cases, but essentially you wanted to, yeah, that's one of the things. So so what do you think about
Well,
the new agent mode?
the agent is here to stay. I mean, like I said, it's cool. Something I would absolutely use. but of course, not with caution, but just loosely in a sense, right? Like I don't use it to do certain tasks or run certain things for me, right? Those calls,
Yeah,
send out certain things, right? I'd use it literally as a personal assistant. Obviously, your personal assistant needs to know a little bit of information about you, but it's still create this for me, figure out this, right? Order this, order that. I need it. If I can create, just a mini me to do a couple of things, it would save me a lot of time, or just it would add value because it
yeah.
might create time that I don't have, and it just does that for me, right? So
That's the goal,
I
man.
like
I
it.
mean, like these are long horizon tasks, is what they call them, of course. So it's basically,
Yeah,
an agent that's you know, that automates a lot of this for you. It goes out there and do those long horizon tasks, and it can take some time. Like depending on what you're asking for, if it's creating a presentation for you, like combing through your inbox and just getting you organized and all those other stuff. But I really love the fact that it's spreadsheets, updating those, and then as well, just like going back to the presentations again, because it takes a lot of time to put into like getting things right for a presentation, and it's not the best as far as like presentation design as it is yet right now. So maybe we'll do some comparison, eventually on like some of the best ones that are out right now. If you really like PowerPoint, because I've seen some PowerPoint gurus, and they can make everything look all good. But it's the fact that it can iterate, and it's getting a lot better, and it's getting really good quickly. That's something that it is moving on. But agent mode is more than that itself. But there's a bunch of use cases. We'll drop the link below. You've probably heard of it. If you haven't, definitely check it out. It's on ChatGPT. But spreadsheet, any long horizon task now that you want it to do, I mean, it can iterate. This isn't an actual, I don't want to understate this. Like this mode is actually where you start to see even more of a wow factor again, because like I said, operator, which they announced at the beginning of the year, I believe, was really good, web browsing and kind of going around. But then deep research was really good about pulling information and categorizing it together and like pulling out reports, and these things are kind of married. So in their announcement they just talked about like how both of these things were distinct and they were great, and combining them together created this results. And there's just benchmarks about like how it just improved like the overall experience and everything. And so far it's been pretty good. It's not perfect. Like I've had it like stop going through its instance that it brings up and stuff like that. But definitely check it out.
right. No,
Yeah.
I think it's great. I'm going to use it, get into it, get my agent. And I mean, like I said, we've been in this agentic era for a minute,
Yeah.
so I'm excited for Chat GPT's agent.
Yeah, 2025 is definitely the year of the agent. That's what everybody's really trying to tackle. I can't. 2026 is going to be super interesting, but everybody's trying to get some, and we've been talking about that pretty much all year and even last year, just like AI agents and automation and how and what that means with different companies and how they're kind of implementing those things. Definitely check out the agent mode if you haven't already. Look at some of the videos and just see how you can use it. A lot of entrepreneurs, this will save you a good amount of time. Now we're really getting into some of the value proposition, and the cool thing was they didn't hide this behind the pro, because Deuce, as we talked about before, like usually I thought this was going, oh, it
Yeah,
was only going to be pro subscription, and they even added this
right.
for plus, and maybe even I think on the free tier or something like that. And I don't know how many uses you get, but it was really cool to kind of see that come to everybody, because I just knew this was going to be paywalled.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they're doing it that way. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so we can keep
Yeah,
it moving. But once again, just safety is, one of the things that was one of their big things on there is if you give this, if you, give it your credentials, which you can, it can go in there and actually make purchases. It can, buy you some stickers, create the images and do all those other things. Like it has an extremely amount of use cases. We'll be going over an episode where we'll talk specifically all the different use cases and definitely some of the prompts that you can use that we've used. And that way you can kind of just get a feel for it, but you'll have your own unique approach that you want to kind of put in there as well. All right, Deuce,
right.
what you got
Yeah,
next?
man. Look, so Microsoft has released a list of the 40 jobs most at risk and the 40 jobs least at risk of being replaced by AI.
Mm,
Essentially, so really what it is, they conducted a study. Their research division analyzed the applicability of artificial intelligence to various professions in the US job market. So the white paper identified 40 jobs most at risk, 40 jobs least at risk for being affected by AI based on how likely the technology is to be used in those roles. So the research
sheesh.
focused on how AI could influence productivity across job categories, potentially impacting employment structures in the process. So really, DJ, what that means is like not necessarily what jobs are going to be replaced, but mostly more so what 40 jobs AI chatbots are likely to help automate, right?
Yes.
I mean, granted, the jobs aren't going away, but let's say, for example, I'm in this job, AI chatbot is going to help my job a little bit easier. Maybe over
Yeah.
time, the job may go away, but that's really what it's getting at. So, what they used is for their metrics, they reported it as a mean of user goal and AI action score. So, the higher the score, the higher the possibility of automation for that role.
Yep.
Number one on that list, interpreters and translators. Crazy to think about. I didn't know, but that is it.
Yeah.
I just think this list in general, DJ, is interesting, not in any particular order as we have the list here, but historians. I saw models on here, but the
Yeah,
ones that
that's
are
interesting.
interesting, right? I don't know how a model can lose their job due to AI,
Well,
but
now they
hey,
have, the AI models, right? I mean, they can
I mean,
put
listen,
them in
that
any
ain't a little
environment. They
crazy.
can, yeah, I mean, they can like, and then now, because the biggest thing was consistency, right? Like they couldn't get a consistent model. Now there's, a lot of them that can keep consistency and put them in different scenarios and do all those other things. They can add video now. So I mean, we talked a while ago about Timbaland and the whole AI artist, music artist,
Yeah,
and
now
how
that's
that's kind of
right.
getting, and AI influencers are going up. So AI models is kind of like, yeah. So I can definitely
I
see that, which is kind of crazy to me because like that's usually just, I
yeah.
don't know, like how that resonates with individuals. And it's like, I wonder if like people want to know, like, hey, this is AI and this is not. And even if it's AI, they can still choose to like it. Like we talked before about an AI DJ and people kind of get,
Yeah.
involved with their local DJs. Sometimes they call in and, all this other stuff. So how is that going to work? Do people care if it's an AI or people really want to know, like, hey, this is the real individual? Interesting, man.
So the two that are really interesting to me is sales representatives of
Yeah.
services and customer service representatives. They're interesting because the employment number of those job profiles,
Right.
1.1 million and 2.8 million, right? A lot of
Probably more than
people.
that. I mean, like,
I mean,
I would
probably,
imagine
but
customer service, because every company has customer service, right? Like in like
yeah.
or
So
sales
so
sales representative.
and they're very high on the list,
Yeah.
so that's
And that's
very
through because of
interesting.
the audio. You know what I mean? Like now you have because like think of all the improvements that they're making right now with
I mean, well, yeah, like
Chat GPT's voice more.
a
Yeah.
chat can help automate that very smoothly.
Oh yeah.
Sales
Yeah.
representative of services, and so that's a lot of jobs that can get automated, right?
It
Of
is.
course, some that we figured on here, mathematicians, technical writers, web developers is on here. Those are stuff, we've already talked about, and we're very aware of how.
What was funny is that did you see the comments? So I think it was some of these were comments, man. When social media got a hold of this, they were saying, "I'm still going to yell representative when I get on the phone." They said, "I'm still going to yell
Hey
representative when
man,
I get on
listen,
there." Now that had me rolling right
listen,
there. They said, regardless if I'm talking to AI or not, I'm gonna say representative. That's
listen.
hilarious.
The one that I thought is interesting, the historians, because I mean,
Yeah,
you feed
that's
AI
interesting.
agent enough information. The thing is this, though. I mean, how? Well, I mean, they're just going to be able to know a lot more. They're going to be able to hold a lot more data than an individual. So, switchboard operators, interesting one.
I
I guess
mean,
all
that's
that.
when I saw that, I was like, that's still a thing though. Like,
Well, yes, but it's not what we think. We not.
you
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying? When I'm thinking,
I
I'm
guess we
thinking
didn't
of
grow up. The thing is, we didn't grow up in that era, but we've seen it. You know what I'm talking about? The old switchboard where
yeah,
they literally take the plug, plug it over here.
and plug it up. Yeah, when they was doing like, and I was like, I
We
thought that
didn't
had
we
been.
didn't grow up with that, but we've seen it. But you gotta know, switchboards now is everything's digital. They just click a button, right?
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
mean, if switchboards are still a thing, I don't. I mean, I get.
Yeah, I can't
I'm
speak on that
not.
one. That was just like that was surprising to me. But
I'm not
farm and home
oblivious to the fact
management
that they're still a thing.
educators, like
Yeah.
farm and home management educators was different. Like it's definitely worth it just to go through the list and kind of see what you say, technical writers and things like that. And I know from a product management standpoint, technical writers and when you're in software development and just the whole realm of building
The,
software, technical writers has always been, and Deuce, you know this, like this is something that people have wanted or they've done for a while. So that's interesting, but I can kind of understand that now because you can have an AI. assistant listen to a meeting and basically write all the tech specs and requirements and from what it knows, and it can also link into your company's back end. Well, corporations are definitely doing that already to kind of help write features, stories, pics, and all of
Yeah.
those other things and get all those details and just go into a meeting and then like say, hey, can we, create XYZ features from it? So it's already happening. So I kind of get it from that standpoint as well. So some of these I definitely understand.
Now, like I said, it's very, very interesting. So I want to know, for those listening and watching, let us know, do any of these job categories or titles fall under where you work or what you do for work? Um, if so, how do you feel about this? Right? How do you feel that AI chatbots can assist and help automate your role? Now, one thing I want to just be clear about, I'm not saying these roles are going to go away or disappear. However, they may lessen, but also if you're good at what you do, these AI tools and agents and chatbots can help make your job easier. Now, the thing about that is what I don't know is how companies are going to kind of adhere to that. Some
Yeah.
companies may just completely try to get rid of these roles, but I also feel like when they do that, it's going to backfire on them,
Mm.
in my opinion. Just I think the first knee-jerk reaction just to get rid of, oh, we can automate this. I don't know if that's going to be the best thing to do for the future. But, let us know. What do you feel like any of these roles would affect you, right? Some of these roles on this list, the employment numbers are really small, like geographers. 1,400 geographers. I don't know if that's regionally or if that's in a small, what the data set they used for this is, but 1,460
Yeah, man.
geographers. That's not a lot.
Personal financial advisor. I mean, and honestly, like in just roles that you individually have had, like, in the past, it just kind of makes you think, because back when I was a financial advisor, like just to think that now they would have something that could pretty much automate what you do. And a lot of that, I mean, technology has been in that space for a while, like how you can allocate your portfolio, taking somebody's risk tolerance and their means and all of those things and kind of putting that into a system and it'll kind of spit out like an allocation recommendation. And then you explain that to, an individual, like, you may want to get into this and that and however you do that. But now, and I think the question is, and what I want to pose to the audience and like to our subscribers is like, how do you feel taking personal or financial advice from an AI system versus a human? Do you think that there's human touch? Because Deuce, like we might have personal biases, right? Or we
Representative.
might have something, yeah, representative. Well, that's your stance, so okay, representative. But I'm just saying,
I'm
like
just
there could be
saying.
personal biases. There could be, and then like even customer service. You say representative, but sometimes you get people that don't want to be on the phone. Like back when I was young and I was worked on customer service and everything like that. Some people I worked with, I remember this dude used to drink Dr. Pepper. Like he had like an actual drink and would pour stuff in there just so he could just be kind of calm to kind of get through. We worked overnight and I was just like, that is wild. Like, and then, but maybe you'll have a system that's competent and it can actually, help you out. But I don't know. That's just it gets into a whole new discussion, but it's good to kind of see this so people can kind of know and understand what's coming. And the impact of this hasn't been proven yet to kind of see like how it's going to impact. But in like Deuce was saying before, this is just a score and kind of like their take on it. But I do think this needs to be a bigger discussion and more broadly kind of held in different places because of the fact that people need to know like if they can potentially be impacted by this
I,
and job displacement and like how
I
they can
will
kind of
say,
pivot.
yeah, I will say there's a few roles, a few titles on here. Granted, I'm not, like I said, these are obviously real people's jobs. Telephone operators, telemarketers. I mean, I feel like telemarketers, I ain't trying to hear from no telemarketer, bro. So, like, I not even to be funny. I don't know how much telemarketers get paid, like how big of a career that is for them. But man, I can guarantee you, I can find 10 out of 10 people who can't stand a telemarketer.
Yeah, I did that as a teenager, man. And I, because when you get into sales and you get it, it does teach you some grit because you get a lot of no's. But when you get that yes
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
you
I'm
get a
saying.
sale, like it's
That's
really
it's
good. But
tough.
but yeah, people, they get on there and they hang up on you or they tell you no, like they don't really, people don't like to be bothered, especially if it's somebody I don't know. But you will get somebody that'll talk your ear off and buy whatever product. And that's kind of, at least, when I was younger. But now,
Crazy.
if all that could be automated, you think as a business owner, it's just the cost. Like they're just like,
But
oh,
can
my
you
highest cost.
imagine? Can you
That's what I'm saying. The
imagine
highest cost.
a chat bot that knows the right pivots to sell, make a
The
sale.
rebuttals and everything. Yeah, always be closing all the
That's
tactics. Yeah,
crazy.
that's what's
To
out there now.
close, to close, to close a sale, they have all the information in order, it answers in like everything. That's
Yeah. And
wild.
then once it
You
does
know what?
that, you have
Yeah,
another
yeah.
agent. You have an outbound agent, you have an inbound, and then you have all this like, that's where I think, a lot of this could potentially be going. But you also, like you said, representative, you're gonna have those people I think that always want to talk. So I don't think that you could ever fully deplete it, but who knows what the future will unfold. I could be definitely wrong on that. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
On the
All
flip
right.
side, I will say this. On the flip side, there was a lit. Obviously, we talked about the list of the most affected jobs, 40 most, but also the 40 least affected with the lowest AI applicability
Mm,
scores, which they called it. Top of that list, number one is phlebotomist.
yes.
It just was the interesting part is this. A lot of people on social media reading is fundamental, and the comments clearly state that some people didn't read because they were they were thinking phlebotomists could be replaced. That has the lowest score. If you're a phlebotomist, you're safe. All right. My sister is a phlebotomist, studied phlebotomy. If you don't know what phlebotomy is or what a phlebotomist is, then you might be okay because not having to see one is all right, you know.
No,
But
but the comment that had me weak was it said unemployment is still safe. They said unemployment is safe to be displaced, and that was hilarious. But
but yeah, obviously, jobs like that, phlebotomy, nursing assistants, they're safe.
it's the
I mean,
trades. Trades. I mean,
yeah, a
bridge
lot of
operators,
trades,
bridge and
right?
lock tenders. Yeah, foundry,
Look,
mold, core
hey,
makers. Yeah,
look, what's on here? Massage therapists is on here.
boat, motorboat operators. I didn't even, motorboat operators was one of the top things. It's not orderlies.
Di
Power drive
dishwasher.
operators. So yeah, so dishwasher. Yeah. Now the second wave is of course when robotics, starts to come in, and once that starts to go, and that's the other shoe to fall. You got AI, and then now you're gonna have, when robotics comes in, that's gonna be different. But
Speaking of, yeah, actually, speaking of robotics, I there was a company I remember that's doing using AI and robotics to paint ships, and
wow.
I think they're on their second round or third round. I forget the company's name, but they're actually doing really well.
All right,
Yeah.
that sounds like something we're
But
gonna have to
anyway,
find that and put that in the
right. But
comments.
anyway,
We'll comment. Yeah,
moving on to the next part. So our next topic, which is going to be great for you business owners, budding entrepreneurs, or just
yeah,
someone
buddy.
who needs help building a website. So there's a new company out there, and they are called, I believe it's pronounced Ouijig, Wegic. So their main thing is RIP, rest in peace to web developers. This is the world's first AI website team helping anyone transform ideas into income. Right. So a mindset therapy posted about them. Ouijig is your all-in-one website team. It builds and manages your site all on its own. So if you have no website building experience or you need a site built very quickly, this site can do it in 90 seconds. However, this is not an ad. This is something we found. I may use this
Yeah,
myself. And
we
I know
have
how to
yeah,
build.
no
Listen, I
affiliation,
know how
no
to build
affiliate.
websites, all right? But I ain't got the time.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
but it saves
saying?
time. Yeah, because I've built them
Yeah,
before.
look,
We've
create
all
your
had to
website
at
in
some
90
point.
seconds through a simple chat. So it's a prompt. A few prompts, you can create a website. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah,
that's pretty cool, right? So they have everything's AI powered. They have AI powered forms. You can get leads, feedback, conversational forms into your website. You have built-in payment systems. So if you're doing e-commerce, any of that
yeah,
stuff, right? I think it's pretty dope. And I think that if you're, like I said, budding entrepreneur, you have something you want to sell, anything, right? But you don't have the time to build a site or not even have the time. Reaching out to find developers is always a struggle, right? I had a company out of college and we used to do websites and everything that I ran. Um, and to this day, I still have people asking me, hey, do you still do websites? And I always tell them, no, I can refer you to someone. Now I have a new referral. So, Weejic, if you're hearing this, we're giving y'all credit. Let us know. You can give me some. No, I'm playing. But yeah, so one click to publish your website, grow your business, ready for visitors in search engines and all the whole nine, right? So the design is also responsive, and what that means is you can take one website and it'll look the same or similar on the mobile, tablet, or .com or your
yeah.
desktop. So yeah, man, I think this is great. DJ, what do you think about this? You think you going to use this, or
Man, I have
would you
mixed
check it
emotions,
out?
man. Like, cause I think it's yeah, it's awesome. Like, I've been through the struggles of like building websites and trying to maintain one. I remember in high school, like for my football team, I tried to build and put together a website. Everybody's wondering, like, wow, I kept showing up in it. But this is old school HTML. So now to see that you can just, and that was very, very basic, rudimentary. This, just having your own literal web developer or whatever the case is, or web designer. Um, I mean, payment integration, forms. I mean, it seems like it's pretty much automating a lot of the hard part that takes up some of the most time also. So that's definitely something, Deuce, when you play around with that, or if you ever, sign up for that for a demo or something like that, maybe let us know. Or that could be an episode where you kind of just demo how your experience is with it. But I mean, it's
I
interesting
mean,
for sure. That's something like I would definitely look into because it could save a lot of people a lot of time. Half the reason why people don't start something is because they, building a website and having a web presence and then like having it have like functions or features and capabilities like taking and accepting payments and all those other things. So this seems like it would solve a lot of problems for a lot of individuals, especially like entrepreneurs that are really trying to get started or entrepreneurs that are available that, but it's kind of easier to work with this. Like Deuce, like you were saying, if it's hard to work with your web developer or different time zones, like boom, you kind of have it here and you can just prompt it.
so this is the thing that like I can appreciate about it. Their pricing and their plans. They have two plans, a starter plan and a premium. Right now, the starter is $24 a month, 23.90, $23.90 a month. Basically that gets you one website published. You can have up to 10,000 visitors a month. 10 pages for that site. It accepts online payments. It seems very credible. Like I said, I think I might use this for my next site and
Nice.
I might give y'all insight. But also on the flip side, the premium one, which is everything basically unlimited. The only addition, well, I would say the only addition as far as differences, you get in-depth visitor insights, but everything else is unlimited. You get unlimited pages, unlimited websites you can publish, and unlimited visitors per month. That one is
Mm.
$41.90, which rounds out to be $1.38 a day. Hey, this to me is a no-brainer. I know there's competitors out there, even with some of the big names in web development, GoDaddy, Squarespace. They are out there doing things with AI builders as well. But hey, this one seems cool. Why not try it? Even with, it says with the premium, you get one free custom domain for a year or a free custom domain for 1 year. So hey, if you need a website, check out Ouijig. Like I said, this is not an ad, but I think it seems pretty cool. AI is definitely something that's taking over. And let us know if you guys want to check it out. Or let us know if you want to see a tutorial of me using it, show you guys how it works. And I think that might be something we could do. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
But
So I think we should definitely see that. Also, one thing I want to hear from the web developers also, is this something you would use? Like, is this something that can accelerate your workflow? Because Deuce,
yes,
you did websites for other people. If you have something like this, does it make your job just a lot easier now,
yes.
right? Like, does it just now you can, and then it opens up and expands you to do a lot more. And since you know web development also, or front end development, you might be able to hop in there and make some tweaks if you need to. Like, it seems like it
Well,
may be very
that's
collaborative.
what I am curious about. If you're able to do your own development, because like
Yes.
I have to do a little bit more research on it, but like I said, this is something that seems pretty reasonable in a sense. Like, can I go in there? Let's say if the color's wrong, and I go there change some of the hex numbers on the colors that I want. So, or how in depth can I get with my prompts, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look into it. This is something I really want to look into. I really like. But like I said, let us know what your thoughts are about not only Ouijig, but everything we've kind of talked about today. Aurora and their automated trucks. Sam Altman talking about anything you say can and will be used against you in court on
Will be
ChatGPT. So
used.
be
Yeah.
careful, right? Will be used, right? Let us know about, your job, the job postings if you think they're going to get affected by AI chatbots. Let us know. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.